Hi, and welcome back to InstaVision. I'm Glenn Reynolds. I've returned from the sunny confines of the PJTV mothership in Southern California back to my basement bunker here in Knoxville, Tennessee, nestled amidst the Smoky Mountains. I'm joined today by Greg Lukianoff. He's the president of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, and he's got a new book out, Unlearning Liberty, Campus Censorship and the End of American Debate. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks for having me, Glenn.
So tell us what happened when affirmative action opponent Roger Clegg spoke near, I think not even actually on, the University of Wisconsin campus.
Well, with the encouragement of administrators, students went to his speech and chased him out of his speech, out of a hotel. And one administrator even later, who's still an employee there, later bragged about congratulated the students who had run Roger Clegg out of town.
Yeah, so this was actually this was not a spontaneous student uprising. This was a mob basically organized by university administrators on the state payroll, because it's a state university, who went to a private venue to chase a speaker out because the university didn't like his views.
Right. And after doing this for 11 years, this kind of stuff doesn't surprise me anymore.
So let me ask you a question. Maybe I should really ask Roger Clegg, but I want to be, if somebody did that to me, I would sue those people personally, and I would hound them to the ends of the earth, just as an example to the others. Why don't people do that?
I think one of the reasons why I wrote Unlearning Liberty is because there's such fatalism and there's such acceptance of crazy censorship on college campuses. And I think that people need to know that they can't, if they do fight back, they can win.
Well, that's certainly what FIRE does, right? You actually file these lawsuits all the time. Not so much my vengeful hound them to the ends of the earth lawsuits, but you do in fact represent people who are victims of censorship and abuse at the hands of universities and others.
Yes, FIRE has been remarkably successful in defending the rights of faculty and students, but the problem is we haven't, as Harvey Silverglate puts it, changed the culture. You still have way too many people on campus who think that the answer to speech you don't like is to silence it, punish it, run it off campus, and that has to change, and that's a much bigger effort, which we're trying to sort of start with Unlearning Liberty.
Yeah, and in fact, you say this problem starts much earlier than college. It actually starts in, K-12 education.
Absolutely. One of the things that I had fun with in the book is I made the structure start from K through 12 and go all the way through someone's first semester in college. And I point out that students just aren't getting good lessons about what it means to live in a free society. The censor first and ask questions later attitude is instilled really young.
So with the country becoming more divided, it seems to me that colleges and high schools and even elementary schools ought to be teaching people to talk to each other more, not shut each other up. Why aren't they doing that?
You would think they should be teaching people that, but I think they find it much more convenient to have this power to censor students whose opinions they dislike.
Well, that's appalling, but knowing the kind of people who often hold those jobs, it's not that big a shock. And one of their big tricks seems to be that if you criticize them, they pretend to interpret it as a threat, and then they call police and take action and such, as you've seen in a number of cases. Why do they get away with that very often?
Unfortunately, it's like they never read The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Some administrators being willing to cry threat when nobody's seriously in danger at all. They don't seem to realize that they're really playing with fire there, forgive the pun. And universities, when fire pushes back against them and explains to them that, no, this is insane, nobody was threatened by this, we usually win. But unfortunately, if you claim threat, so many people go, oh, well, it doesn't matter how ridiculous the claim is, we trust the administration, which is the last thing you should do.
Boy, that is certainly true. Well, one of the interesting things we have now, and I, of course, have a little book on it I did not long ago on the higher education bubble, but it seems to me that right at the time when colleges and universities and even high schools and such are beginning to face a lot of competition from online education, from the so-called MOOCs and various other new models, they've made their campuses into places where, honestly, a large section of the population, anybody who's conservative, most anybody who's male, anybody who is not a conformist, really might think twice about going at all. Do you think that's going to hurt them?
I really hope. I think one of the solutions to the problem for free speech and due process on campus is more competition. These universities have gotten used to being able to charge students $60,000 a year for no free speech, no due process. And what we need are some competing models that actually show due process works, free speech works, and we don't need this insanely huge bureaucracy to make it work.
Well, aside from escaping and going online, what can students or faculty do? What should they do if they see a free speech problem on their campus?
Well, first of all, contact fire. We've been incredibly successful. They should read our guides. They should let us know what's going on, because the amazing thing is universities have a really warped view of free speech and First Amendment law, and they're after time again we prove them wrong. So the first thing students need to know, though, is to push back.
I think that's good to know. Well, what about when people are thinking of enrolling in a college? Is there a place they can go for guidance on colleges that are more or less friendly to free speech? This is a leading question because I know the answer, but...
Well, it's true. At thefire.org, we have a map of the whole country. You can click on your state, and 400 top universities come up. It includes both their speech codes. Chances are your school has a crazy speech code, and the list of incidents we've had that are public over the years where universities have tried to censor either professors or students.
Well, thanks so much. Well, people will find that very useful. I want to brag that the University of Tennessee has the fire green light on that chart, right? So I want to be sure everybody knows that. But thanks so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Glenn.
And that's Greg Lukianoff. He's the president of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, and his new book is Unlearning Liberty, Campus Censorship and the End of American Debate. Buy it, give it as Christmas presents, mail one to your college president, and generally get it around. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us here. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, have fun on the internet. Thanks.